I ordered this Meowth figurine off the Pokemon Center website and it arrived broken twice. Unable to get a replacement for the replacement, I instead took my refund money and went to itch.io to see how far $15 could get me there. Itch.io is a marketplace for indie developers to sell their games, being a lot more open and supportive of indie devs than platforms like Steam. I've known about Itch for years, from their game bundles for charity to the many indie fighting games that host their early demos there, but I had never bought anything off the platform before. I'm still new to PC gaming in general, so I've always just stuck to Steam. But having explored more indie games thanks to the indie fighting game community, I wanted to see what this haven for indie devs had to offer, and how much $15 could really get me. With the refund money spent, I ended up with 5 games, so about $3 per game. I made a point of checking out games that seemed interesting but weren't things I would normally play. Specifically, I steered away from fighting games, so you won't be hearing about Duels of Fortune, Beatdown Dungeon, or Heatwave among others. If I ever cover those games, they're each going to get their own individual videos. I wanted to use this little experiment to explore the wider indie space and see what else is out there. I started off light, picking up a game in a genre that I knew I'd like, but was unsure of how a scaled back version of it would feel to play. SkateRide intrigued me. I found it right after making my Street League pitch video and was interested to see how something on a smaller scale approached the issues I had with modern skateboarding games like Session and Skater XL, whose controls I found abrasive in both cases. While SkateRide's controls also take some getting used to, I'd say they're much more beginner friendly than the previous 2 games. You set up your flip tricks with a combination of the right thumbstick, which determines if you'll be doing a flick, shove, or both, and both bumpers, which determine how hard that flick or shove will be. The bumpers also come into play when doing tricks where you spin with your board, like doing a kickflip 180. The triggers of your controller alter the lean of your character, like if you want to land in manual or nose manual, and the same goes for slides and grinds. The game doesn't let you land on a rail and just begin grinding. The big thing you'll notice about SkateRide is how important timing your landing is. You aren't able to just do a trick and land. You have to time another button press to put yourself in position to roll away correctly. This also applies to ledge and rail tricks. Along with your normal landing button, the game has 3 slide/grind buttons that let you land in those kinds of tricks, and you can alter each of them by using the same lean alterations that let you land in manuals. Once you figure out its rules, SkateRide is a really easy game to play. The goal of the game is to do tricks over gaps. Each level has 10 gaps, but unless you find them accidentally, you'll need to play the game's line challenge, which has you complete move after move to hit a certain point total. Hitting this total unlocks a new gap that you can see on the map's preview screen. Each gap has 4 points available to earn: ollieing over it, doing a flip trick over it, spinning over it, and then doing a spinning flip trick over it. This is how you unlock new levels, by gaining points over these gaps. You don't need to earn all the points in one level to have enough points to unlock the next level, which I appreciated because some of these gaps are really difficult. For under $4, I feel like I ripped off the SkateRide dev, because I've already gotten like 20 hours out of this game, and I'm probably gonna hit 100 hours by the end of the year. But even if you only spend a few hours with it, this game is more than worth the price. The Last Survey is a game I bought purely because it's outside my wheelhouse. The last visual novel sorta game I played was Emily is Away 3 like 5 years ago, and that series made up the only visual novels I've ever played. At $4.99 USD, The Last Survey takes you inside the world of corporate culture and the health of the earth. The story here is that you've been hired by a mining company to survey rare earth metal reserves, and your findings are not good. The game is based on actual surveys done by scientists that show that solar panel and electric car trends are using rare earth metals at an unsustainable rate. The brief moments of control the game gives you determine if the CEO of the mining company will hear your findings with a sympathetic ear or ignore you for their own convenience. In between those rare instances of control, The Last Survey does an incredible job setting the stage for what you're trying to accomplish, and lays out the culture within these office building walls in great detail, further emphasized by minimalist animations. I was impressed by this game. It tells its story very well and does a good job immersing the player. If you have the time, and if you have 30 minutes then you do have the time, you should absolutely check out The Last Survey. I will absolutely be coming back to it until I get a playthrough where I can convince the CEO to respect the findings. The Last Survey is a beautiful, terrifying game, available on Steam, itch, and Switch. Now in a bit of a throwback, I checked out Metanet Hunter G4. With game creation tools becoming more accessible, we've seen a wave of people creating brand new games for older systems. Here we have a platform shooter in the style of an original Game Boy game. For a single dollar, you get an incredibly enjoyable collection of weapons to use, monsters to blast, and bosses to defeat, along with a variety of modes and even discoverable cheat codes. Even better, the game has collectibles that actually do something, in this case giving you different color palettes. Again, I feel like I robbed the developer here. With 6 levels to work through and different difficulty settings to choose from, I've already beaten the game multiple times. Once you find a groove, you'll find yourself beating the whole thing by accident. If you're a fan of Mega Man, Castlevania, or classic Mario, Metanet Hunter G4 is a great game to check out, and it's only $1. On the opposite end of the replayability scale, we have Fishing Vacation, a game that hurt my hands. Seriously, its control scheme is the entire reason I won't be replaying this game, even though I do otherwise find it pretty interesting. Usually fishing games are 100% about fishing, think those Rapala Pro Bass games. But Fishing Vacation uses the fishing as a storytelling element. The story here is that your friend got a key to his uncle's cabin in the mail and invited you out to spend a weekend there with him fishing. Immediately, you can tell that something's up, and exploring the house only further pushes you in that direction. You progress the story by completing a worm hunting minigame and then a fishing minigame, both of which were cool the first time and then got progressively more tedious the longer I played. It's just button mashing, and it started to annoy my wrists after a bit. The story of the game is told by what you catch in the lake. While you can catch fish ranging from bass to straight up sharks, you can also catch random objects, including keys. If you've been exploring around the cabin, you'll have noticed a cellar door with 3 padlocks on it, and each of the keys you catch works to unlock one of them. I only got 2 of the keys, so I don't know what's in the cellar, and I won't be making my wrists suffer any further in hopes of finding out. If Fishing Vacation had better controls, I'd really like it. The way it tries to tell its story is pretty cool. If this game had a proper budget behind it, I could see it being one of the more interesting horror games in a given year. The bones for something interesting are definitely here. Finishing things off is a game inspired by your top-down dungeon crawlers of yesteryear. The GBA version of Link to the Past was one of my defining early games, but having not played anything like it in ages, I was interested to see if Shipwreck could strike the same magic. What I immediately realized is that all the time spent away from these sorts of games made me very bad at them. I struggled to find the goddamn inn when it's borderline impossible to miss when you enter the first town, and struggled in the first dungeon before I got into a rhythm with how things work in these types of games. But once I did, Shipwrecked became so much fun. I had a blast exploring all of these dungeons and trying to find their secrets. If you're a fan of classic Zelda games, you should check Shipwrecked out. At only $3 on itch and Steam, it's a great bite-sized nostalgia trip. And that's what $15 got me on itch.io. 4 games I really enjoyed, and one that seemed like it had a lot of potential. If you enjoyed this video, tell me what other indie games I should check out. I had a lot of fun scrolling through itch and seeing what's out there, so this might become a series. If you'd like to contribute to the Buy Go Indie Games Fund, you can support me on Patreon, where you'll also get all of the wrestling videos I can't post on YouTube for copyright reasons.